Commander Jake Morrison watched the stars from his post on the Orbital Defense Station New Horizon. The view never got old, even after 15 years of service. Earth hung below like a blue marble, peaceful and quiet. Ships moved in and out of the system daily, carrying trade goods and passengers to the 12 human colonies scattered across nearby star systems. Jake's morning coffee was still steaming when the priority alert came through. Red lights flashed across his control panel. His communications officer, Lieutenant Beth Turner, looked up with concern. "Commander, we have an encrypted transmission from Confederation High Command. It's marked as urgent." Jake frowned. Direct messages from the alien government were rare. Usually Earth got its orders through human representatives on Zentara Prime, the Confederation capital world. "Put it through to Captain Chang immediately." Captain Lisa Chang received the message in her office aboard the command ship Defiance. She had served in the Confederation military exchange program and knew several alien languages. But the message that appeared on her screen made her blood run cold. It was written in formal Confederation standard, the language used only for the most serious official business. The message was short and clear. Earth had 72 hours to surrender all military ships, close down colonial defense forces, and accept direct Confederation control. The reason given was excessive expansion and dangerous military growth. If Earth refused, the Confederation would take corrective action. Lisa read the message 3 times before she believed it. Earth had been a good member of the Confederation. For 50 years, humans followed the rules, paid their taxes, and never caused trouble. Their military was tiny compared to the great alien powers. What could have changed? She immediately called Admiral Ryan Foster. The Admiral was Earth's top military commander, a calm man who had served through many crises. But when Lisa showed him the message, even Foster's steady hands shook slightly. "Call an emergency meeting," Foster ordered. "Get President Sullivan, the Defense Council, and our best intelligence officers. We need answers fast." Within 2 hours, Earth's leaders gathered in the secure underground facility beneath Geneva. President Kate Sullivan looked tired. She had been dealing with trade disputes and colonial expansion issues, normal problems for a growing human civilization. This was something completely different. "What do we know about why they're doing this?" Sullivan asked. Commander Nick Barnes from Earth Intelligence stood up. He was young for his rank but had a reputation for finding information others missed. "Madam President, I've been tracking unusual Confederation military movements for months. Several major alien powers have been building up their fleets. The Korthak Empire has moved battle groups closer to human space. The Varian Collective has been conducting war games near our trade routes." "But why?" Admiral Foster asked. "We've done nothing wrong." Barnes pulled up holographic displays showing human expansion over the past decades. "Sir, I think we've been more successful than we realized. Human colonies are producing more food and manufactured goods than many older alien worlds. Our trade ships are everywhere. Our technology has been advancing faster than anyone expected." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Dr. Amanda Foster, the Admiral's sister and head of Earth's Research Division, spoke quietly. "We've been so focused on keeping up with alien technology that we didn't notice when we started surpassing it. Our computer systems are more flexible, our ships are more efficient. Our people adapt to new situations faster than most alien species." "President," Sullivan studied the data. "So they see us as a threat?" "Yes, ma'am," Barnes confirmed. "Intelligence suggests the major powers convinced the Confederation Council that humans are growing too powerful, too fast. They want to stop us before we become strong enough to challenge their control of the galaxy." Sullivan stood and walked to the window. Even underground, she could see displays showing Earth's orbital shipyards, busy with construction. Human crews worked alongside automated systems, building the next generation of colony ships and defense vessels. "Admiral Foster, what are our chances if we fight?" Foster looked uncomfortable. "Honestly, Madam President, the numbers are against us. The Confederation could bring thousands of ships against our few hundred. But—" He paused, thinking. "We do have advantages they might not expect. Our crews are better trained for rapid response. Our technology is newer and more adaptable. And humans have something most alien species lost long ago, which is the willingness to take risks, to try new things. Most Confederation species follow the same military tactics they've used for thousands of years. They're powerful but predictable. Dr. Foster added, "Our artificial intelligence systems are decades ahead of anything the aliens use. They banned advanced AI research centuries ago after some kind of disaster. We never did. Our ships can literally think and adapt during battle." Sullivan returned to her seat. The weight of decision pressed on her shoulders. She thought about her children, about billions of humans living peaceful lives across 12 worlds. She thought about the future her species could have among the stars. "If we surrender," she said slowly, "what happens to us?" Barnes consulted his files. Based on how they've treated other species in similar situations, they'll take control of our government, limit our expansion, and use our resources for their benefit. We become servants in our own system. And if we fight? Admiral Foster met her eyes. "We might lose everything, but we'll lose it as free people." The room was quiet except for the hum of air recycling systems. Finally, Sullivan spoke. "I've read the histories of Earth. Every time someone demanded we kneel, we fought back. Sometimes we lost. Sometimes we won. But we always chose to fight." She stood up, her decision made. "Send a message to Confederation High Command. Tell them Earth's answer is no. We will not surrender our ships, our colonies, or our freedom. If they want to control us, they'll have to take us by force." Admiral Foster nodded grimly. "I'll begin preparing our defenses immediately." As the meeting broke up, Sullivan called for her speechwriter. In a few hours, she would address not just Earth, but all human colonies. The message would be broadcast across 12 star systems, reaching millions of humans who had no idea their peaceful lives were about to change forever. That evening, President Sullivan's image appeared on screens throughout human space. Her voice was calm but determined as she explained the situation. She ended with words that would be remembered for generations. "Today, the galaxy ordered Earth to kneel, but humanity has never bowed to bullies, and we will not start now. If they want war, then war they shall have. We will show them what humans do when cornered. We fight, we adapt, we survive, and sometimes we win." Across human space, people watch their president with growing determination. In shipyards and military bases, crews began working around the clock. Earth's answer had been given. Now they would prepare for the consequences. 3 days later they came. Captain Alex Stone stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching his tactical display as hundreds of alien ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. The Confederation fleet was massive, stretching across space like a moving city of metal and energy. "Count them," Stone ordered his sensor officer. 300 ships, sir, led by what looks like a Korthak dreadnought." "It's huge, Captain. Twice the size of our largest battleship." Stone nodded calmly. Around him, his bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency. These were humans who had trained their whole lives for this moment, even if they had hoped it would never come. The ship's artificial intelligence, which the crew called Alice, was already analyzing the enemy formation and suggesting tactics. "Alice, what do you think of their approach?" The AI's voice was pleasant and conversational. "Captain, their formation is textbook Confederation doctrine from about 500 years ago, very impressive for parades but predictable in combat. They're not even bothering to scan for mines or hidden defenses." Stone smiled grimly. The aliens were so confident in their superiority that they weren't taking basic precautions. "Good. Let's give them a surprise they won't forget." Behind the massive alien fleet, Admiral Ryan Foster coordinated the human defense from his command ship Independence. Earth's fleet looked tiny by comparison, only 80 ships against 300, but Foster wasn't worried about the numbers. He was thinking about training, motivation, and the element of surprise. "All ships, this is Foster. Remember your training. Stay flexible, stay unpredictable, and trust your AIs. These aliens have ruled the galaxy for so long they've forgotten how to really fight. Let's remind them." The Korthak Admiral Vextar commanded the alien fleet from his flagship Dominator. He was a veteran of dozens of campaigns against rebellious species. Usually the sight of his fleet was enough to make enemies surrender immediately. When it wasn't, the battles were short and decisive. But as Vextar studied the human formation, he felt something unusual. Uncertainty. The human ships were arranged in no pattern he recognized. They seemed to be moving randomly, like a school of fish rather than a proper military formation. Communications, Vextar rumbled in his deep Korthak voice. Broadcast surrender demands on all frequencies. Tell the humans they have one final chance to avoid destruction. The message went out across space in dozens of languages. It was the standard Confederation ultimatum, used successfully for centuries. Surrender now or face annihilation. Captain Stone's reply was brief. This is Captain Alex Stone of the Earth Defense Force. Your surrender demand is rejected. If you want our system, come and take it. Vextar couldn't believe what he was hearing. No species had ever rejected a final surrender demand. The audacity was beyond his understanding. All ships, he ordered, advance and engage. Show these primitives the price of defying the Confederation. The alien fleet moved forward in perfect formation, their energy shields glowing bright blue. Vexitar expected the human ships to either run or make a desperate frontal attack. Instead, something completely unexpected happened. The human ships, scattered like leaves in a windstorm. Some dove toward the sun. Others climbed high above the system's plane. A few seemed to disappear entirely, using stealth technology the aliens didn't know humans possessed. What had looked like chaos was actually a carefully planned maneuver. Lieutenant Commander Beth Turner led the first wave of human fighters. Her squadron of 20 small ships had just launched from hidden positions inside asteroid fields. The aliens had no idea they were there until Turner's fighters appeared directly behind the enemy formation. Alice, target their shield generators, Turner commanded. Already on it, Beth. Their shields are designed to stop big, slow projectiles. Let's see how they handle swarms of smart missiles. Turner's fighters launched hundreds of tiny missiles, each one guided by its own AI. The missiles moved like living things, dodging defensive fire and seeking weak points in alien shields. The Korthak had never seen anything like it. Meanwhile, Captain Stone brought his ship in close to the enemy flagship. The Dominator's massive guns fired at him, but Alice was already calculating their targeting patterns and flying the ship in ways that made hitting it nearly impossible. Their weapons are powerful but slow to track, Alice reported. I can keep us in their blind spots if we stay close and keep moving. The Defiance danced around the huge alien ship like a fighter boxing with a giant. Stone's crew fired precisely, targeted shots at the Dreadnought's weapon systems, each hit planned by Alice to cause maximum damage. On the lunar surface, Colonel Sam Rodriguez watched alien dropships heading for his base. The Korthak ground troops were elite warriors, feared throughout the galaxy, but Rodriguez had spent years studying their tactics, and he had a plan. Wait until they're committed to landing, he told his troops over the radio. Let them think. They're winning, then hit them from all sides. The alien warriors landed in perfect formation just as their manuals required. Rodriguez's forces seemed to melt away before their advance, giving ground and avoiding direct confrontation. The Korthak pressed forward confidently, following procedures that had worked for 1,000 years. Then the trap sprung. Hidden human fighters emerged from underground tunnels, hitting the aliens from behind. Automated defense turrets rose from concealment, catching the invaders in crossfire. Most surprising of all, some of the retreating humans suddenly turned and attacked, having led the aliens into carefully prepared kill zones. In space, the battle was turning against the Confederation fleet. Their superior numbers meant nothing when human ships refused to fight the way they were supposed to. Every time the aliens tried to bring their heavy guns to bear, the human ships had moved somewhere else. Worse, the human artificial intelligence systems were learning from every exchange. Each shot fired taught them more about alien weapons. Each maneuver revealed more about enemy tactics. The humans were literally getting better at fighting while the battle was happening. Admiral Vextar watched his casualties mount with growing panic. The humans weren't just winning individual fights, they were making his entire fleet look foolish. Ships that had conquered star systems were being outmaneuvered by enemies they had expected to crush easily. How are they doing this? He demanded of his tactical officer. Sir, they're not following any recognized combat doctrine. Their movements seem random, but they're somehow always in the right place at the right time. And their weapons, they're adapting to our defenses faster than our computers can compensate. The final blow came when Captain Stone's ship appeared directly above the Dominator's bridge. The alien flagship's shields were down, its weapons offline, its crew in panic. Admiral Vextar, Stone's voice came over the communication system. This is your final chance to surrender. Leave our system now or share the fate of your ship. Vextar looked around his ruined bridge. Half his fleet was destroyed or disabled. The other half was in full retreat, their crews too shocked to fight effectively. The species he had expected to crush in hours had instead handed him the worst defeat of his career. With his dying breath, as Stone's final torpedo tore through his ship's hull, Vextar transmitted one last message to Confederation High Command. They are not like the others. They do not fight to preserve, they fight to win. Beware the humans. As the alien fleet limped away from Earth, leaving behind the wreckage of dozens of ships, humanity celebrated its first victory. But the leaders knew this was just the beginning. Word of their success would spread through the galaxy, and the Confederation would not accept this humiliation. Admiral Foster looked at the tactical reports and smiled grimly. They had won the first round, but the real war was about to begin, and humanity would be ready. The news of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On Zentara Prime, the Confederation capital, emergency sessions began immediately. Elder Zurath of the Varian Collective paced nervously in the council chamber, his multiple eyes focused on the battle reports. This is impossible, he clicked in his native language. A junior species cannot defeat a proper Confederation fleet. There must be some mistake. Warmaster Krell of the Korthak Empire slammed his massive fist on the council table. There is no mistake. The humans destroyed Admiral Vextar's fleet with ships we thought were primitive. They used tactics we have never seen. If we do not act quickly, other species will begin to think rebellion is possible. The council chamber filled with worried chatter from dozens of alien species. For thousands of years, the Confederation had maintained order through overwhelming force. Junior species obeyed because they knew resistance was hopeless. Earth's victory changed everything. Elder Zurath called for silence. We must activate Protocol Omega. Every ship, every weapon, every warrior in the Confederation must be turned against these humans. They must be destroyed completely so no other species gets ideas about fighting back. The vote was unanimous. Within hours, mobilization orders went out to every Confederation world. The largest military force in galactic history began to assemble. On Earth, General Marcus Webb coordinated humanity's response to the coming storm. Intelligence reports showed massive alien fleets gathering at staging areas throughout the galaxy. The numbers were frightening, over 5,000 ships from 12 different species. We can't fight them head-on, Webb told President Sullivan during a secure video conference. Even with our advantages, those numbers would overwhelm us. We need a different strategy. That strategy was called Operation Wildfire. Instead of concentrating their forces to defend Earth, humanity would spread out across every star system they could reach. New colonies were established on barren worlds that could serve as hidden bases. Manufacturing centers were built in asteroid fields where aliens wouldn't think to look. Most importantly, Earth's population began evacuating to the colonies, ensuring that humanity would survive even if the homeworld fell. Captain Jennifer Hayes led one of the most dangerous missions during this preparation phase. Her ship, the stealth vessel Shadow, approached a Confederation research station in an uninhabited system. The station was studying new weapon technologies, and Earth needed every advantage it could get. Remember, Hayes told her boarding team, as they prepared to assault the station, we're not just here to steal their technology. We need to understand how they think, how they design their weapons, how their military minds work. The raid was a complete success. Hayes' team captured not just alien weapons and ship designs, but also tactical manuals, strategic planning documents, and historical battle records going back centuries. What they found was both encouraging and terrifying. Dr. Amanda Foster studied the captured alien materials with growing excitement. "Marcus, you need to see this," she called to General Webb over their secure connection. "These aliens are incredibly advanced in some ways, but they're completely stagnant in others. They've been using the same basic weapon designs for over 1,000 years. "What does that mean for us?" Webb asked. "It means they've forgotten how to innovate. Every ship design, every battle plan, every weapon system follows patterns established centuries ago. They're powerful, but they're predictable. More importantly, they seem incapable of adapting to new situations quickly." While Amanda studied alien technology, her colleague Commander Kyle Murphy worked on humanity's greatest secret weapon: rapid evolution protocols. Human artificial intelligence systems were already learning and adapting during combat, but Murphy wanted to push this ability even further. "What if our ships could literally redesign themselves during battle?" Murphy asked his research team. "What if our weapons could evolve new capabilities while we're fighting?" The concept seemed impossible, but human engineers had learned not to accept limitations. Working around the clock, they developed systems that could rebuild themselves using raw materials, AIs that could design new weapons in real time, and adaptive armor that got stronger each time it was hit. Meanwhile, the Confederation's massive fleet began its approach toward human space. But instead of finding a concentrated defense around Earth, they discovered something that confused and frustrated them. Humans were everywhere. Admiral Thakmore of the Helix Consortium commanded one of the attack fleets targeting the human colony of New Geneva. He expected to find a small agricultural world defended by a few patrol ships. Instead, his sensors detected a network of hidden bases throughout the system, defensive satellites that appeared from nowhere, and human ships that seemed to multiply during battle. "How many humans are there?" Thakmore demanded of his intelligence. "Officer, sir, our estimates show they should have perhaps 200 ships total, but we've already engaged over 300 and more keep appearing." The truth was that humanity had been busy. While the aliens spent weeks assembling their grand fleet, human shipyards worked continuously to produce new vessels. More importantly, every human ship was supported by dozens of automated fighters, repair drones, and support craft. What looked like one human ship was actually a small fleet working together. The first major battle of the new phase occurred at the colony of Haven's Rest. Captain Danny Roberts commanded the defense with just 15 human ships against over 200 Confederation vessels. The odds seemed hopeless, but Roberts had learned from the earlier victory at Earth. "Scatter formation," he ordered. "Make them chase us through the asteroid field. Alice, coordinate with all ship AIs. I want every rock in this system turned into a weapon." What followed was unlike any battle in galactic history. Human ships led the aliens on a deadly chase through hazardous terrain, using the environment as a weapon. Asteroids were redirected to crash into enemy vessels. Space debris was turned into clouds of shrapnel. Most confusing to the aliens, the humans seemed to know exactly where every enemy ship would be before it got there. The secret was AI coordination. Every human ship shared information instantly with every other human ship. When one ship's sensors detected an enemy movement, all human ships knew about it immediately. The aliens, following traditional communication protocols, took minutes to share the same information. Commander Sarah Mitchell's intelligence division made the crucial breakthrough that changed everything. Working from captured alien communication equipment, she managed to break into the Confederation's command network. What she discovered was even better than she had hoped. "General Webb, you need to hear this," Mitchell called excitedly. "The alien alliance is falling apart. Different species are blaming each other for the failures. The Korthak think the Varian battle plans are too cautious. The Varians think the Korthak troops are too aggressive. And everybody thinks the Helix Consortium is holding back their best ships." Webb studied the intercepted communications with growing satisfaction. "How can we make this worse for them?" "We hit their home worlds," Mitchell suggested. "Not to conquer them, but to cause panic. If their capital planets are under attack, these species will start pulling ships back to defend themselves instead of working together against us." The idea was brilliant and terrifying. No one had attacked Confederation homeworlds in living memory. The psychological impact would be enormous. Admiral Tom Bradley commanded the strike force that would implement this new strategy. His ships were the fastest and most advanced in the human fleet, equipped with long-range stealth capabilities and the new evolution protocols that let them adapt during combat. Remember, Bradley told his captains before they departed, we're not trying to conquer these worlds. We want to hit them hard, cause maximum damage, and get out before their main fleets can respond. The goal is to make them scared, not to occupy territory. Captain Laura Wright's ship Vengeance was the first human vessel to appear in orbit around Zentara Prime, the Confederation capital. The alien government's emergency session was interrupted by alarms as sensors detected human ships where no human ships should be able to exist. Wright's tactical officer, Lieutenant Mike Chen, couldn't believe what his sensors were showing. Captain, there are over 1 million alien ships defending this system, but they're all positioned to stop large fleets from approaching through normal hyperspace routes. They never expected small groups to come from unexpected directions. Then, let's give them something to really worry about, Wright replied. Target their orbital shipyards, their communication networks, and their government buildings. Make it loud, make it scary, and make it clear that nowhere in the galaxy is safe from human reach. The attack on Zentara Prime lasted only 20 minutes, but its effects rippled throughout the Confederation. For the first time in their history, the alien capital was under attack. The psychological impact was devastating. As Wright's ships disappeared back into hyperspace, leaving burning shipyards and damaged government facilities behind, emergency communications flooded Confederation command networks. Species that had committed their fleets to attacking human colonies suddenly wanted their ships back to defend their homeworlds. 8 months into the war, the galaxy looked very different. What had started as a simple police action to discipline an upstart species had become a nightmare for the Confederation. Human fleets appeared where they shouldn't be able to exist, attacked with weapons that shouldn't be possible, and disappeared before proper retaliation could be organized. Captain Danny Roberts sat in his ready room aboard the Cruiser Ranger, studying battle reports from across human space. His ship was currently hiding in the corona of a star, using the stellar radiation to mask its presence from Confederation sensors. It was a tactic that would have killed any other species' ships, but human technology had adapted to survive in conditions aliens considered impossible. "Captain," came the voice of his AI companion, "we're receiving new orders from Admiral Bradley. Operation Prometheus is moving to Phase 2. Roberts smiled as he read the orders. Phase 2 was the breakthrough they had all been waiting for. Intelligence had finally cracked the Confederation's deepest communication codes, and what they found was better than anyone had dared hope. The alien alliance was falling apart. On Korthak Prime, War Master Krell faced a rebellion among his own generals. Half of his fleet had been recalled to defend the home system after human raiders had destroyed 3 major military bases in a single week. The other half was scattered across the galaxy, trying to hunt down human forces that seemed to multiply whenever they were attacked. "The Varians promised us their new weapon systems would give us victory," General Thrak growled at the War Council. "Instead, human ships shrug off our most powerful weapons like they were toys. The collective has betrayed us with inferior technology." Krell's mandibles clicked in frustration. "The Varians claim our tactics are too predictable. They say humans counter our strategies because we follow the old ways too closely. But the old ways have worked for 1,000 years. Against enemies who thought like us," Thrak replied. "These humans fight like nothing we have ever seen. They break every rule of proper warfare." Meanwhile, on Varian Prime, Elder Zurath faced similar problems with his own council. The collective's advanced technology had proven inadequate against human adaptability. Worse, intercepted human communications showed they were not just copying Varian designs, they were improving them. "How is this possible?" Zurath demanded of his chief scientist. "Our technology represents millions of years of accumulated knowledge. These humans have been spacefaring for barely 50 years. Elder, I believe that is precisely the problem," the scientist replied carefully. "We have perfected our designs over millennia. Every system is tested and proven. But the humans, they seem willing to try completely new approaches. They use technologies we discarded as too dangerous or unpredictable. The breaking point came when Captain Danny Roberts led his task force in the Battle of New Eden. The human colony world was under siege by a combined Korthak-Varian fleet of over 800 ships. The aliens expected an easy victory against the handful of human defenders. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in galactic warfare: space guerrillas. Roberts' ships refused to meet the enemy in open battle. Instead, they used the system's asteroid belt as cover, appearing from behind rocks to strike at alien formations before disappearing again. They mined hyperspace routes, forcing enemy ships to approach slowly through hazardous terrain. Most confusing of all, they seemed to be everywhere at once. "How many human ships are we fighting?" demanded Admiral Korax of the Joint Alien Fleet. His tactical officer studied the confused sensor readings. "Sir, our computers count over 200 separate human vessels, but that can't be correct. Intelligence says they have perhaps 30 ships defending this system." The truth was that human technology had evolved beyond alien understanding. Each human ship was supported by dozens of automated drones, repair units, and weapon platforms. The ship's AI could control all of these units simultaneously, making one ship fight like an entire squadron. More importantly, the humans had learned to use deception as a weapon. False sensor readings made their ships appear to be somewhere else. Holographic projectors created imaginary fleets. Communication jammers prevented aliens from coordinating their attacks effectively. The battle raged for 3 days before the alien fleet retreated in confusion. Admiral Korax transmitted a bitter report to Confederation Command. "The humans do not fight like civilized beings. They use trickery and deception. They hide instead of meeting us honorably in open battle. How can we defeat an enemy that refuses to fight properly?" This victory marked the turning point in human strategy. Instead of just defending their colonies, they began actively hunting Confederation fleets. Human task forces appeared in systems where no humans should be, destroyed alien supply bases, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. Commander, Sarah Mitchell's intelligence breakthrough changed everything. Working from her hidden base in the Kuiper Belt, she had not only broken the alien communication codes but learned to forge convincing messages. Now she could make Confederation commanders believe they were receiving orders from their own superiors. "General, Webb," Mitchell reported during a secure briefing, "I can turn their own communication network against them. Watch this." She transmitted a series of false orders that caused a Korthak fleet to attack a Varian supply convoy. Both sides thought the other had betrayed their alliance. Within hours, shooting had broken out between former allies. The psychological warfare campaign intensified when Admiral Tom Bradley implemented the next phase of Operation Prometheus. Instead of hit-and-run raids, human forces began sustained attacks on major Confederation worlds. The targets were carefully chosen for maximum impact with minimum risk. Captain Laura Wright's task force struck at Helix Major, the primary industrial world of the Helix Consortium. Her ships appeared without warning in the system's outer regions, where defensive forces were lightest. But instead of attacking the planet directly, they targeted something much more valuable: the space elevators that connected the surface to orbital manufacturing stations. One precisely placed shot can cripple their entire industrial capacity, Wright explained to her tactical team. Destroy the elevators, and they can't get raw materials to their orbital factories. No factories, no ships, no way to fight us. The attack was devastatingly effective. Wright's ships used new human weapons that could cut through any known material, slicing the massive space elevators like wire through cheese. The economic damage was enormous, but more importantly, it proved that human forces could strike at the heart of Confederation power. The final breakthrough came when Dr. Peter Jackson's research team completed their analysis of captured alien technology. Working in secret laboratories hidden throughout human space, they had not just copied alien designs but revolutionized them using human innovation. The aliens have been using the same basic technology for centuries, Jackson reported to Admiral Foster. Their energy weapons are powerful but inefficient. Their shields are strong but inflexible. Their computers are fast but can't adapt to new situations. And our improvements? Foster asked. Our weapons are more efficient and can adapt their output to overcome any defense. Our shields can actually get stronger when they're attacked. And our AIs, well, they're practically alive. They learn, they grow, they evolve during combat. This technological revolution gave human forces a decisive advantage in what became known as the Battle of the Twin Suns. Captain Alex Stone, now promoted to admiral, led a combined human fleet against the largest Confederation armada ever assembled. Over 3,000 alien ships faced fewer than 500 human vessels. The battle began at dawn, ship's time, and ended before sunset. Human weapons that had learned from every previous engagement proved capable of overcoming any alien defense. Ships that could literally redesign themselves during combat adapted to counter every enemy tactic. AIs working in perfect coordination outmaneuvered alien fleets that had to rely on slow traditional communication methods. When the dust settled, over 2,000 Confederation ships were destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had lost fewer than 50 vessels, and even those were being rapidly repaired by automated systems that could rebuild damaged ships using debris from the battlefield. Admiral Stone's final transmission to the retreating alien fleet was simple. This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. We don't just adapt to survive. We evolve to win. The news of humanity's overwhelming victory spread through the galaxy faster than the surviving alien ships could carry it. Species that had contributed fleets to the Confederation cause began recalling their forces. The Great Alliance against humanity was dissolving as each member species focused on defending their own worlds against the seemingly unstoppable human war machine. For the first time since the war began, President Sullivan allowed herself to hope. The latest intelligence reports showed alien fleets in full retreat across multiple sectors. Several minor species had already begun sending secret peace feelers through neutral channels. Are we winning? She asked Admiral Foster during their daily briefing. Foster studied the tactical displays showing human fleets advancing through previously hostile territory. Madam President, I think we may have already won. They just don't know it yet. The end began with a simple message transmitted across all Confederation communication networks. It came from the Draconi Federation, one of the oldest and most respected members of the Galactic Alliance. The Draconi Federation hereby withdraws from military operations against human space, announced Prime Counselor Veltar. This conflict has caused enough destruction. We call for immediate peace negotiations. Within hours, similar announcements came from the Helix Consortium, the Aquatic Union, and half a dozen smaller species. The Great Alliance against humanity was crumbling as each member decided that survival was more important than pride. On Korthak Prime, War Master Krell received these announcements with rage that shook the walls of his command center. Cowards, he roared. We can still win this. War, the humans are just one small species. But General Thrak, his most trusted commander, shook his massive head. War Master, look at the numbers. In 1 year of fighting, we have lost over half our fleet. The humans grow stronger with every battle. Our allies abandon us, even our own. Soldiers begin to question whether victory is possible. Krell's anger turned to desperate determination. Then we will show them. Ready our remaining fleets for one final assault. We will strike at Earth itself and end this war with human blood. The plan was desperate but simple. Gather every remaining Korthak ship and smash through human defenses to destroy the human homeworld. If Earth fell, surely human resistance would collapse. Commander Rachel Davis intercepted the Korthak battle, plans 3 days before the attack was scheduled to begin. Working from her intelligence post on Luna, she had been tracking enemy fleet movements and communication patterns. What she discovered made her call Admiral Foster immediately. Sir, they're planning a suicide run at Earth. Every ship they have left, over 800 vessels converging on our home system. They think if they can destroy Earth, we'll surrender. Foster studied the intelligence data with grim satisfaction. Let them come. It's time to end this war once and for all. The final battle of the Korthak Empire began when their fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Krell himself commanded from his new flagship Vengeance. determined to succeed where Admiral Vextar had failed over a year ago. But the solar system that greeted him was nothing like the one Vextar had attacked. Earth was surrounded by thousands of defensive platforms, each one armed with weapons that had evolved through months of combat. The asteroid belt had been turned into a fortress, with hidden bases and weapon systems scattered throughout the rocky debris. Most ominously, human ships seemed to fill every corner of the system. "How many ships do they have now?" Krell demanded of his tactical officer. The young Korthak officer's voice trembled as he read the sensor reports. "War Master, I count over 3,000 human vessels. And these readings? Their technology is unlike anything in our databases. These ships appear to be repairing battle damage in real time." Krell's mandibles clicked in disbelief. A year ago, humanity had struggled to field 100 ships. Now they had built a fleet larger than his own, with technology that seemed to improve itself continuously. The battle was brief and decisive. Human ships that had learned from every previous engagement moved with perfect coordination, their AIs sharing information faster than thought itself. Weapons that had evolved through months of combat proved capable of penetrating any Korthak defense. Most devastating of all, human ships that were damaged in the fighting literally rebuilt themselves during battle, emerging stronger than before. Krell's flagship was the last to fall. As human ships surrounded the dying Vengeance, he transmitted one final message to his homeworld. How did prey become predator? What gods created these humans? The answer came from Captain Alex Stone, now commanding the human fleet from his flagship Defiance. "We created ourselves, War Master. Every challenge made us stronger. Every battle taught us more. You tried to crush us, and instead, you forged us into something unstoppable." With the destruction of the Korthak war fleet, organized resistance to humanity effectively ended. But the Varian Collective remained, convinced that their advanced technology still gave them superiority over the human upstarts. Elder Zurath made his final gamble from Varian Prime, the heart of the Collective's power. "Deploy the quantum disruptors," he ordered his military commanders. "These weapons can tear apart the very atoms of human ships. Let us see their adaptive technology handle that." The Varian quantum disruptors were the most advanced weapons in the galaxy, capable of unraveling matter at the molecular level. They had never been used in warfare before, held in reserve as the ultimate deterrent. Surely no primitive human technology could withstand such power. Admiral Foster's combined human fleet arrived at Varian Prime to find the system bristling with these terrifying new weapons. The quantum disruptors fired as soon as human ships came within range, their energy beams designed to unmake anything they touched. But humanity's greatest strength had always been adaptation. The artificial intelligence systems controlling human ships had been analyzing theoretical quantum weapon designs for months, preparing countermeasures for weapons that didn't officially exist. When the disruptors fired, they met shields specifically designed to deflect quantum energy. "Impossible," whispered Elder Zurath as he watched human ships shrug off his most powerful weapons. "Those disruptors can unmake entire moons. How do their shields even exist?" His science officer, working frantically at his station, looked up with terror in his multiple eyes. "Elder, their defensive systems appear to be based on our own theoretical research, but they've solved problems we thought were impossible. They're not just copying our technology, they're perfecting it." The battle for Varian Prime lasted 6 hours. The Collective threw everything they had at the human fleet: quantum weapons, reality distortion fields, artificial black holes, and experimental technology that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. The humans adapted to each new threat in real time, their ships literally evolving new defensive systems as the battle progressed. When Elder Zurath's personal ship was finally disabled, he transmitted his surrender directly to Admiral Foster. "We yield," he said simply. "Your species has proven superior in all ways that matter. We request terms for peace." Foster's response was broadcast across the entire galaxy. "The war ends now. All Confederation fleets will return to their home systems immediately. Any species that continues hostilities will face the full might of the human fleet." The formal end came 6 months later, in the same council chamber on Zentara Prime where the war had been declared. But now, instead of alien leaders demanding human submission, President Kate Sullivan sat at the head of the table as representatives of dozens of species waited to hear Earth's terms. "The old Confederation is dead," Sullivan announced to the assembled delegates. "It was built on fear, maintained through force, and corrupted by stagnation. The new galactic government will be different." The new galactic compact that emerged from these negotiations revolutionized interstellar politics. Instead of a rigid hierarchy with ancient species controlling younger ones, the new system was based on merit, innovation, and mutual cooperation. Any species could rise to leadership through achievement rather than birthright. Most importantly, the new government actively encouraged the kind of technological and social innovation that the old Confederation had suppressed. Research and development flourished as species that had been stagnant for millennia began to rediscover the joy of discovery and growth. Admiral Jake Morrison, now in command of the orbital station New Horizon 2, watched ships from dozens of species working together. In Earth's shipyards, human engineers collaborated with alien scientists, sharing techniques and ideas that would have been forbidden under the old system. "It's amazing what they can accomplish when they're not afraid to try new things," Morrison commented to his aide, Lieutenant Beth Turner, now promoted to commander after her heroic service in the war's first battle. Turner nodded as she watched a joint human-Draconi research team testing a new type of faster-than-light drive that promised to revolutionize space travel. The old Confederation spent so much energy keeping everyone in their place that they forgot the whole point was supposed to be making life better for everyone. Captain Laura Wright, now Admiral Wright commanding the human sector fleet, received regular reports from across the galaxy. Former Confederation species were establishing new colonies, developing new technologies, and exploring regions of space that had been forbidden for centuries. Even former enemies were thriving under the new system. The Korthak Empire had become the Korthak Republic, their warrior culture channeled into exploration and protection of trade routes rather than conquest. The Varian Collective had reformed as the Varian Research Institute, their advanced technology now shared freely with other species, instead of hoarded for military advantage. President Sullivan's final address to the galaxy, delivered on the first anniversary of the new Galactic Compact, was broadcast to billions of beings across thousands of worlds. 1 year ago, the old Confederation ordered Earth to kneel. They believed that might made right, that age granted authority, and that order required submission. They were wrong on every count. She paused, looking out at the assembled representatives of